Hello, my name is Elspeth from Library Headquarters, and this is a special book chat for Mental Health Awareness Week. There's been a lot of research, a lot of studies that shown that books and reading can play a really strong role in promoting positive mental health. Now, one of the obvious ways books can help is with the self-help guide, and there is a national scheme called Reading Well, run by the Reading Agency, that's produced book lists that have been endorsed by mental health professionals of books that can really help with issues such as anxiety and stress and depression. We have all the books on the book list in our libraries. Unfortunately, libraries are closed at the moment, but we do have quite a lot of them on BorrowBox, our online ebook lending service. So do take a look if you think you could benefit from a book like that. But what I'm talking about this week is the broader issue, the wider role that books can play in just making you feel a bit less stressed, lifting the mood, bringing you up a bit when you're feeling down. And you can find another list on the Reading Agency Reading Well section called Mood Boosting Books, which is just that. It's books that have been recommended by people across the country at just lifting the mood, at helping, bringing a bit of light there when everything's looking a bit dark. But everyone's different. Everyone looks for a different thing when they need cheering up. And it might not be a book that looks obviously feel good. Some people, if they're feeling down themselves, they actually want books to be full of dark emotions, maybe horror stories, maybe really quite strong crime novels, books that are full of emotions and angst and despair and trauma. Because there could be a whole variety of reasons for it. Everyone's different. It could be an element of you can really immerse yourself, you can get gripped on the edge of your seat, forgetting your own emotions by living for a few hours in the world of this book and wondering what's happening. Could be an element of catharsis to it, that you're channeling the emotions, you're weeping, raging with a character of this book that helps you with your own emotions. Sometimes it can be really helpful if you're going through a particular situation to read about somebody else, whether fictional or real, who has been dealing with similar issues and got to the end. You're seeing there's a light to the end of their tunnel. It can really help you hope and know that there'll be a light at the end of yours. So the subject of book chat there is have a chat. What sort of books do you look for when you need your mood lifting? And it might not be something obvious. It might not be something that shouts out feel good, mood boosting. As for me though, I'm not for when I'm feeling a bit sad, I'm not for those dark emotions. For me it is the lightness, the comfort, and it's a familiarity. It's rereading comforting things. It's like the comfort food. It's returning to old favourites. And one of my absolute go-to books if I'm feeling ill or sad is Winnie the Pooh. And everyone knows Winnie the Pooh. I don't even need to introduce it. But here is my copy. And it's not just Winnie the Pooh, it's the poems of A.A. Milne. Here's When We Were Very Young, that I loved so much when I was young, that you see my tooth marks there, that I chewed it to pieces. And I still ask for these to be read aloud when I'm ill. And I mean, partly they are really good books for reading aloud. The use of language is so, so good. But I think it's also the emotions there. It's going straight back to the emotions of early childhood, of being snuggled under the bed, being looked after, cherished, having those stories read. I said I keep them right by my bed so I could reach them whenever I need them. With right, send for emergency, we need a book. Here it is. And another series I got by the bed, another author, is Georgette Heyer. Now, this is not going back to early childhood at all. I only discovered Georgette Heyer about 6 or 7 years ago. I'd been aware of her before as a writer of Regency romances, but I have to admit I was prejudiced. I dismissed her books. I assumed they were silly, brainless romance, probably full of anachronisms. I didn't think they had any appeal. But then I read one, I can't remember why, probably recommended by someone, and I thought, I was so wrong. It was so good. Yes, they are romance, but there's nothing wrong with that. They are very well researched, and what I hadn't realised is most of them are actually very funny. This is my favourite, Sprig Muslin here. I think it's my favourite, I'm not sure. I could actually discuss for quite a long time what my favourite is, but if I had to come down with one, probably this one. And it's got a lot of humour in it. It's also got a very nice feel-good romance that I really like. Just like the romance in it. But this and all the others, I can just pick them up. I know the stories pretty well now, so I can just dip in, reread favourite passages, and it's just really cheering. Now, the last author I'm going to talk about, I didn't actually think I was going to talk about Diana Wynne Jones because she is my absolute favourite author, and I think I probably need an hour to do justice to my feelings about Diana Wynne Jones books. But the mood boosting books list on the reading agency site does include Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. I thought, over there, including her, I've got to include her. So I didn't discover Diana Wynne Jones until I started work as a children's librarian, though she is a children's novelist who was actually writing while I was young. I just didn't discover them then. She writes fantasy novels, most of them for children. There are a few adult books, and there's a lightness of touch in all of them, and they are all very, very original. She has so many different varied ideas, different interesting ways to build the world, and I just love them. Howl's Moving Castle is one of my favourites. I also really like the Chrestomanci series, and that's Charmed Life, one of my favourites there. But I like nearly all of them. You can see there. That just goes off camera there, but that's my Diana Wynne Jones section that long there. And I reread them and I reread them. And actually, the very first thing I did when lockdown got declared was I resorted to my favourite Diana Wynne Joneses, even though I'd reread them only about 6 months ago. But I reread them all again. First port of call in an emergency. Diana Wynne Jones, Georgette Heyer, or A.A. Milne. So now it's over to you. Share your own recommendations. We'd love to hear about them in the comments on the Facebook post on this to get a nice idea of what sort of books the Isle of Wight turns to when they need a bit of cheering up. So goodbye.